Alrighty, boys, and welcome back to Hit the Books podcast. We are back for episode 4 of season 2, here to talk some NFL week 1, week 2, here with the boys. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Alex Ventura and Michael Mackey. I'll hand things over to Ace first. What's going on, Ace?
Nothing much. Just enjoyed a great weekend of football. Ready to get talking with the boys about it. A lot of cool things to look at. Sun's shining. Fall air's coming in. I'm ready to roll. What about you, Mac?
Obviously, week one didn't disappoint. We had a great week of football. I had a nice 5-3 record, and the team card went 1-1.
1 and
So
2 after a tough Monday night.
1-2. I forgot about the Monday night play. So we're down a few units on that, but we got 17 weeks to make up for it.
Yeah, I had a personal, probably worst all time. Last year, we had a pretty rough start to the card picks, Mackie, whenever we jumped out to the individual. I think the first 3 weeks last year, we did team picks only. And then I think it was week 4 whenever we branched out and did some individual plays. But last year, I started out on a pretty good run. This year, I dug myself a nice little hole 0-4, but nothing I can't come back from. Just going to, play my way out of this. Not going to do any reaching, any bets I don't really love. So just still going to stick by my guns. If something I love ends up being a team play and I have no card one week, I mean, we'll have to see what happens. But definitely dug myself a hole that I'm going to have to be looking to get out of here shortly. But Ace, I think you were 2-3.
I was 3-3 heading into Monday night, and then Russell Wilson and the Broncos decided to give me negative units on the week. Ended up at I think minus half a unit. Sunday night football really helped me and Mackey. Tom Brady you can always count on the GOAT, right, Mackey?
I was so pissed, dude.
Not to put up points.
No, we got Dalton Schultz on that over prop. We were doing some deep
Huge
digging into the props this weekend, Mackie and I, and it paid off dividends.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I was some of my picks obviously off the card. Haven't been doing that bad. I hit Mike Evans' first touchdown Monday, or whatever was that, Sunday night, plus 800. That was a nice hit. I literally had that typed up on the card as a fucking half unit play, and I was like, I can't start 0-3. I was like, I can't start 0-3 and then just come at you with the first touchdown and expect this to get me out of here, and I would have been up a unit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Up on
I had
beating himself.
What'd you say?
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Right, beating yourself.
Yeah, I had dude. I thought I was 6-2. I was like, "Oh, I'm up 4 units," because on my book I had under receiving yards, and Ace was like, dude, it takes one big play. And I was like, "You're right." So I took the under receptions. Obviously, it backfired. So I'm 5-3, up right under 2 units.
Yeah, you're sitting good. You got the Jerry Jeudy over on one play.
One play, yeah. See, that's the play that Ace was talking about.
Yep, Mackie, life is too short to bet the under, my friend.
Yeah, I guess so.
He took the under on Sunday night. That was a nice hit.
Yeah, you live and die by it. So
yeah, you. If you're a Cowboys fan, you must know how bad they really are. Are you excited for Cooper Rush to come in?
No, I genuinely already gave up on the season. I don't think we're gonna do anything this year. I went over our schedule, and I think we start off the season 3-8, and then at that point, I don't really think we can bounce back from it. Our schedule becomes a little tough. We got the Bengals this week, and then we have 2 divisional matchups. Then you go right into the Rams. So what are we gonna start? 1-4, 1-5, and then it's hard to bounce back from that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you were going to be agreeing with Skip Bayless there. I think he said that Cooper Rush is just as good, if not better, than Dak Prescott. So
Come on.
Skip Bayless is a fucking idiot.
I'm a big Dak fan, and I'm a Cowboys believer. I think that's a huge blow to the season as a whole. So we'll get into that later, I'm sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
But we'll look into a couple of the big takeaways from week 1. Obviously, the first game of the season, Thursday night, the Super Bowl favorite Buffalo Bills went into LA into SoFi and defeated the defending Super Bowl champions 31-10. We obviously had the Rams on that one to start out the season 0-1. Tough pick. I think a lot of people were kind of questioning the rookie corners with the Bills, and I mean, really, everyone should have been questioning, can the Rams defense handle Josh Allen, because this dude's legit. A lot of people know that. It's not something I necessarily need to say, but seeing the price on his MVP odds drop right like that after a Thursday night game on week 1 when he was the only game to play the season so far, just shows what the NFL thinks this guy's capable of. and that he definitely has the media on his side, as he's kind of the NFL's next poster boy, him and Mahomes. I actually think some people are finding Josh Allen a lot more likable than Mahomes now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still a Mahomes guy every day of the week. But talking about that Rams Bills game, I think there's a lot of underestimations by our team on that play. We really like that line for the defending champions at home. I think we're really high on Sean McVay, at least I am. The one thing we underestimated was how injured Matthew Stafford was and how much that off-season injury affected his play coming into the year. You could tell that chemistry was off, especially when they were replacing pieces like Robert Woods, Odell Beckham Jr., and they're
The
trying to work with
receiving
guys like
the
Allen
receiving
Robinson.
core looks all over the place.
Yeah, I think once he gets in sync with Robinson, it might look a little bit better. But the surprise by Cam Akers being shelved and Darrell Henderson taking over the lead role, that's not a backfield committee to be proud of, I don't think. I think that they're one of the lower tandems in the league. I don't know. I just expected a lot more out of a Sean McVay offense. What do you think, Mackie?
Yeah, obviously we all get the line, and we saw the defending champions at plus money at home. So I don't think it was a bad play to jump on it. I think it ended up biting us in the ass because, like I said, everybody underestimated Matt Stafford's injury, and he didn't. I don't think he played a snap in preseason. He goes out there, looks shaky from the start. He looked injured the entire game. He throws 3 interceptions. So I don't know if this says more about the Rams right now or the Bills because Josh Allen literally did not make any mistakes. He might have made 2 mistakes the entire game. The guy was just on fire. He threw 2 interceptions. You can say that both of them were his receivers' fault, I think. But at the end of the day, he
They,
did throw 2 interceptions. But
they didn't punt the ball the whole game.
dude, every single time he needed to make a play, he did exactly what he needed to do. He needed 14 yards, he got 15. He was out of his mind. I think he looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the game.
Yeah, I agree with that. Lost my train of thought. I had a good point. I was thinking more back to the Matt Stafford injury. Actually, I'm trying to figure out. We got the two of you, a Steelers and a Cowboys fan. I was reading a report earlier in the year coming into the season. They were like, "Is this the arm injury that ended Ben Roethlisberger's career, or is this the arm injury that Dakota Prescott had and worked through it to continue being a elite quarterback?" So that's something to monitor for the rest of the season, at least. If
Yeah.
this is a downfall,
And what do you
of
think?
Stafford, he can play through it.
What do you think it is?
I think he's going to bounce back. I think that team and offense is too good. I think McVay will play to his strengths more. He knows what he's got. He's going to get more reps with that top offense. So I don't really think he's going to get to the elite talent that he once was, like Dak did. But I don't think he's declining like Ben yet. I think he'll get stronger as the year goes on, but he's going to be playing through that injury all season, so it's not good.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
gotta. They need a run game.
I don't
They're
know.
Yeah, they
for
gotta.
I don't know what's going on there. McVay's scheme can make anybody good, but Akers is supposed to be good. I
in
don't
that
know.
the offensive line struggles that they've had. I mean, their offensive line, they look like one of the bottom half in the NFL for sure. But
Every,
They had a
their
how good their
starting
retirement though,
defense
and they
is.
lost guys in free agency. No.
they looked
Yeah,
like they were just like on a Super Bowl hangover. To be honest, they didn't look ready to play at all.
Yeah, that Bills team, they were so hyped up coming in. You know what we should have seen coming? I think I sent this to Huff. Um, was the Isaiah McKenzie touchdown
yeah.
doing a gender reveal for his sister in the end zone? Like, how do we
You
Yeah,
not
know,
know that's going on? That's a free
I
line
was
right
it
there.
wasn't
I was
talked about.
watching.
That's why you gotta do. We gotta do our research a little better.
I was watching the game and
Where's our
they
Bills
zoomed in
analyst?
on him and I could read his lips and he was like, "It's a boy," and I'm like, "What the fuck does that mean?" I thought it was like when Josh Allen did or like when the guy's like, "I'm a dog,"
Yeah,
he comes over, "It's a boy." I'm like, "What the fuck does that mean?" I
yeah.
find out later on Twitter. I'm like, "Okay, that was a gender reveal. That makes a lot of sense." Now.
You know what we got to start doing with our guests? Stop going to my family members. Start going to Isaiah McKenzie's family members. Maybe someone else out there. I think who's young, who's in the NFL underrated star that has a good line on a touchdown. When's Jacoby Myers' sister having a kid or something?
You gotta look into those things.
Craziness.
It's kind of stuff we got to look into. And then obviously another one of the other crazy games you alluded to it, my Steelers coming into Cincinnati, getting a crazy win in overtime. Just a back and forth game. I don't know if you guys were
Yeah,
watching that game
that
or
has
seen most of the
everybody on the
highlights of it,
edge.
but
Yeah, can
go
I
ahead.
just I know Huff, you obviously want to dive into this, but can I just say I don't know what this says about the Steelers, but how do you turn the ball over or how do you force 5 turnovers and then
Go to overtime.
end in a game like that. Like, how do you the amount of chances that Joe Burrow had to win that football game is just insane. I mean, he went down with 3 minutes left and couldn't get in the end zone, correct? And then he got the ball right back with like a minute and a half left. Like, I feel like the Steelers were trying to give up that game. Their offense did not want to win that game, but that defense has had a stellar performance. I don't know. You dive into it a little more, but
Ace, you wanna? I saw you were looking like you wanted to jump in there for a second.
Yeah, I figured I'd give my 2 cents before you really jump into it. But like I said, that had everybody on the edge of their seat. No matter who you were a fan of, you were watching that game in the 1 o'clock time slot, the witching hour, as they like to call it. Our boy Scott Hansen. They were dominating red zone, so you know that game's in one. Definitely the game of the week, maybe early front runner for game of the year. But like Mackey was saying, those stops by the Bengals, mediocre defense. I'd like to say because I never think too highly of it. I know they have pieces that they've added from time to time. That's a mediocre defense.
definitely mediocre defense.
They shut down that Steelers offense. So the question I have for Huff is, obviously you're happy about this win, but are you nervous about what the offense showed you?
Well, I was going to say, yeah, that's kind of what I was going to get into, and this has been the kind of case with the Steelers team the past couple of years. And when we were talking about this game last week, Mackey even said, he goes, that defense scares me every time. I'll take the Steelers plus the 6 points here. I don't know if you ended up betting it or not, but just to quote you from the podcast, and that's basically the definition of this game. If the offense is any bit of consistent, or we have a legitimate elite quarterback, this team could be Super Bowl contenders year in and year out with this defense. And obviously, the injury to T.J. Watt. Now we don't know. It's seeming like he tore a muscle compared to a ligament in his pec. So basically, I found out there's a lot difference in the healing process with that, where the tear in a muscle he's going to be out like a month, like maybe 6 weeks max, 4 to 6 weeks is kind of what I've been hearing. Could be a little more, but
Classic Watt injury.
yeah, just a classic. You know what I mean? He's walking off the field. He already knows the season's over, or mostly.
Is it JJ or TJ? I get them mixed up.
Dude, I mean, TJ just got he just got the contract, and like a lot of people were saying this in Pittsburgh. It's like you give him that big money, and you know what I mean. He goes down for the year. You know, is he going to be the same guy ever again? But I mean, we've seen it once and before in the NFL. Yeah, it's a business, but when you get a talent like TJ Watt on your team and he's up for, you know what I mean, a blank check, you give it to him to keep him around and keep asses in the seats and selling jerseys. And for this reason, that he has a sack, 6 tackles on Sunday, and he didn't even really play the whole game, not most of over. I think didn't even play in overtime. And then another guy on the defense, Minka, just a hell of a game, 14 tackles, 10 solo tackles, a pick, return for a touchdown. Like, the defense came to play, but the offense needs to be more consistent. Trubisky, I think, another week in the system with Tomlin. I think Tomlin's one of the top, you know what I mean, 3 head coaches in the NFL. So I think another one of those guys that'll get the job done with his team, a young team, get consistency from the offensive line. Najee Harris showed a little bit of a injury re-aggravating that foot, but people are saying he's going to be okay to go against New England this Sunday. So I think we see better things out of the offense. I do think that you'll see your growing pains with this young team, but as long as the defense is doing that, I mean, I like our chances.
Yeah, I don't know if I just messaged you, Huff. I mean, if you saw the clip of Mike Tomlin giving out the black Air Force Ones in the locker room, if I knew about that, I would have hammered the Steelers money line. Come
on. Yeah, but dude, there were so many people. All the Pittsburgh like sports radio people were like, "Stop buying tennis shoes and go buy a left tackle." And this was before the game, and then after the game, they're like, "Yeah, it's a great game by the Steelers." It's like, dude, you were the one bitching about the fucking tennis shoes an hour ago, and now because the Steelers covered +6, all of a sudden you're in a good mood.
Mike Tomlin's a player's coach. He knows how to get the best out of everyone. It shows right there.
And it's just like how league wide he's respected. Like, he was on McAfee the other day, and they're like AJ Hawk's like freaking out. Like, they're all like, I never realized like he has this like a lot of players like him. Yeah, he is like, he definitely like down to earth dude. It seems like he's not doesn't act like, I mean, like, just to compare Belichick, like, I mean, I've never talked to the guy or seen him away from the field. Like, I've seen him smile, but like he seems like a pretty reserved dude that, you know what I mean, once you work for him, you'll see a different side of him. But
yeah, no, I'd agree with that statement, but they both have one thing in common: their dedication to winning. they'll do whatever
Exactly.
it takes to win a football game. And they
You'll
have their
find
own
your style,
formulas.
whatever works for you.
Yeah, they have their own formulas, but they know how to get the best out of their team. Those guys just build their defenses. That's why that matchup this week is so exciting. Two ugly offenses, young, ugly offenses with stellar defenses. So I'm eager to see how that one plays out.
Speaking of Bill Belichick, let's get into your Patriots in Miami. What happened down there? A little bit of
Classic AFC South hangover. I bet you they were hanging out on South Beach too long. I can tell you the refs were after that non-pass interference call on the first drive. Changed the whole complexion of the game.
Uh,
The biggest
uh,
takeaway from that game,
yeah.
besides us going 0-1, which was expected by almost everybody, I think even New England, even Bill himself expects to lose that game. If you saw, they changed their routine. They never do that for anything. They're the Patriots, right? But they've been losing so often in Miami that he changed where they stay and a little bit more north of Miami, and they went down 2 days earlier in the week just to try and figure it out, and they still couldn't. Tua Tagovailoa at 4-0 against the Patriots. I mean, that's the team you don't want to see on your schedule if you're New England.
Didn't
yeah,
you
you guys
take the
have had the
Patriots
recent
last week?
struggles with them.
No,
You didn't. You didn't.
I said I wasn't going to touch the game.
No, when we were talking about it, didn't you say the Patriots are going to win?
Yeah, I said I'm not touching the game.
Yeah.
You can go.
Well,
Go
yeah.
back, go back and look at it.
No, yeah, but you definitely gave us. Like, you definitely said your side. You said everyone in New England was expecting a loss here. I think you were expecting a win. But yeah, if anything, I would just say
definitely not expecting. I think we lost seven in a
I
row.
just like how quick you wrote it in it. You were definitely expecting one, but
No, I put it this way. At least I was more confident in my Patriots than you were the Cowboys.
I'll be honest.
All right.
My football. At least we
I'll be
scored
honest.
a
I had the
touchdown.
you want to be
She
honest?
got one touchdown.
You got 0.
Yeah, we played the Bucks. You guys played the fucking
Yeah,
Dolphins.
but we have nobody on offense. You have everybody.
Yeah.
If
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Zeke Elliott in his Power Rangers helmet.
My brother liked those. I can't believe it. Those things are strange.
That's brutal.
Yeah, but other than that pass interference, which was pretty blatant, if you ask me, I don't know. That offense seemed really weak the entire game. You only put up one touchdown. Mac Jones didn't look his best. He didn't look bad. He still looked comfortable in the pocket. But I don't know. They couldn't get anything going. And that Dolphins defense is nothing really special. I mean, it's definitely not like one of the worst defenses in the league. But I don't know. I feel like a team. I'm like you said, Patriots never play well in Miami, and it's been a trend for a really long time. Tua 4-0 against them, but Bill Belichick team didn't. I thought they would put up a little bit of a better performance in this game.
Yeah, I'll take 3 points from that game. Like I said, expected to lose that game. The Dolphins on that streak. If you were not a Patriots fan and you didn't bet on that game, then you're stupid. Bias. I can't bet against my boys. But at the same time, take away a few things. The Patriots normally control the trenches. I've talked about that on podcasts every time I've been on. That's the most important part of the football game. And the Patriots' O-line was their weakest part of their team. Losing guys in free agency and injuries don't help. But a once strong part being lost is huge. That Dolphins team showed a lot. The one thing I did notice, though, their team, their coach, I like McDaniels a lot. I like their skill players. Tua Tagovailoa is not him. I don't know. Not a fan of him. He's going to hold them back. But last thing I had to think about, Patriots, Mac Jones, hope he's okay. He went down, took the MRI on his back. So even if he's playing this week against the Steelers, he's going to be banged up.
Yeah, I don't think Tua is that guy either. I agree with you on that.
Literally, play one of his fucking season. He has Tyreek Hill wide open. He throws it into the middle of the
That was play one.
Yeah. First pass.
No. That was bad.
Yep.
Tyreek talking all that shit about how Tua is just as good as Mahomes too.
Tyreek 13 targets though.
Mahomes makes that throw backwards with his eyes.
Literally behind his back. He's making that throw behind his back.
But Tua didn't turn the ball over too much, so I guess Tua turned the ball over. We didn't see that too much.
If he plays in that system, McDaniel has shown that he's going to be a pretty good coach. He's going to take his shots, going for it on 4th and 6. The play
7.
that Tyreek gave the quote where he said the quote from Tyreek Hill where he said McDaniel's gonna need a wheelbarrow to walk around with his nuts or something after that play call. I was dying whenever he said that, and they played that clip on ESPN. But I think this Dolphins team is a little better than I expected, at least. But like you said, Ace, not too much. Like they're not going to be world beaters. I think they're going to be sitting right around 9, 8, 10 wins, somewhere in there. I think they'll have their losses. They'll get beat. That team is definitely not unbeatable. I think you'll have your games where Tua, 3 picks, 1 pick 6, and it's over before you even realize it. But couple of the other games that we bet on personally, team wise, we had the Ravens in New York. Started
Only
out
loss.
slow.
The only
Started out slow, looking like maybe a Jets were gonna maybe backdoor cover. I don't think at any point Ravens money line was in question. But once the Ravens jumped out to, I think it was a 9-3 lead, and they had the ball, I said they get points here. This thing's over.
Yeah, once that Jets defense showed its true colors, they gave up a few big plays for touchdowns. I think Duvernay and Bateman combined for 5 or 6 catches on the day, but three touchdowns of the 6 catches. So
And what's crazy is if they had a legit receiver that wasn't Bateman or Devin Duvernay, it's like the things that team could do. It's just like that's their weak point every single year. And but we had the Ravens -6, come out with a win on that one. Couple of the other
easy.
big takeaways: me, Mackey, and Jesse all riding the Carolina Panthers at home against Baker Mayfield's rematch against his old team, the Cleveland Browns. Uh, the Browns ended up winning off a Cade York. I think it was a 58-yard field goal as time
In
expired. A crazy final 2 minutes of that game. At certain points, it looked like the Panthers were out of it. Baker throws a 75-yard bomb to Robbie Anderson. Touchdown, down 3. Panthers take the lead on a field goal. Left Brissett and the Browns a little too much time as Cade York hits one, his first game winner in the NFL. That kid definitely is going to be promising, and now making his case that the AFC North is just loaded with kickers.
Yeah, Cade York was feeling dangerous, I think, on that kick.
He woke up feeling dangerous.
Yeah, that running back tandem though. Want to touch on it real quick. Chubb, Hunt, don't underrate them, especially without Watson or Mayfield to turn the ball over. You can hammer those running backs all game long. Stefanski did it, and it paid dividends. It's a top running back tandem in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say so, definitely. But I don't know about this Browns team. I mean, this Panthers team almost came back and beat them with an awful start that they had. Baker was just very uncomfortable in the first half of this game, feeling out a new team, feeling out a new coach, and he knew that defense knew exactly how he played. So once he got it under control, I mean, their offense looked fine, and I think they had this game on. They definitely controlled the second half of this game, and I think if they play this game 3 weeks from now, Panthers win this game definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think, like I
Browns
said
and
with the
Panthers.
Steelers,
You
I
got it.
think you'll see some growing pains with Baker in the Carolina offense. I do think you'll see success there. I don't know if it's necessarily playoffs this year, and it's not necessarily deep NFC. I do think they could maybe secure a wild card spot, but they're gonna have to make their leaps and bounds as an offense. The defense has shown they can make plays, but I mean they need consistency with Matt Rule and the play calling and things like that. They just need Baker to feel comfortable in Carolina. So alrighty, another game we're going to get into is Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs visiting Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. Chiefs come out on top 44-21 in a shootout. Me and you were all over that over. I ended up not actually betting it, but last week on the pod, I said that was my favorite play for this game. I thought I was going to see a lot of points. The over-under was sitting at 53.5. It was a higher one, but like we said, that's going to be one of the ones a lot of people were scared to take, but you see it get cleared by 10 points and cash. So Mahomes, Kyler, not ever scared to really put up the points. Mahomes looked amazing in this game, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'm high on Mahomes. High on Mahomes and Jackson this year, but Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. I feel like he's getting the Brady treatment, kind of, where he's so good that everybody's like, "Oh, he's not that good anymore. Next year is going to be a bad year," but he's just going to keep excelling year in and year out. Doesn't matter. His targets are actually a lot better than people give them credit for, too. I like Juju Smith-Schuster. Yeah, he had the fumble, but he looked great out there. And obviously Travis Kelsey. That's where you make the money. I said that to everybody all week. Over 6.5 catches for Kelsey and a touchdown. He cashed those both very early.
Yeah, we had that touchdown parlay I sent you too. Those both Jettas and Kelsey, dude, those
Yeah,
both could have been first. Imagine we would have parlayed two firsts.
that would have been crazy. We played it safe because we knew they were going to score. We just didn't
Yeah,
know when. But those
the,
guys
the
get.
odds were crazy for both of them at any time. Plus 300.
Yeah, the thing is, it's the first week of the season, so the lines aren't as good as they should be.
Yeah,
But good for us to capitalize on.
yeah.
Travis Kelsey gets force fed the ball, though. We know that. He's the best tight end in the NFL. 6.5 catches. He does that in his sleep. Come on now.
I actually think he had that in like the first quarter, maybe early second.
Yeah, the scary thing was the Cardinals kind of lulled on offense, so his receiving slowed down in the second half, but he had 5 catches in the first half.
That's what I thought. I knew he was really close to it. Obviously, I had the Cardinals in the second leg of my fucking teaser. Couldn't cover 10 points for me. It looked like late they were going to make a little bit of a push, but just couldn't get enough love from the Cardinals from my card for the teaser. But yeah, like you said, I think it was you that said the Chiefs look like the 2018, 2019 Chiefs of the is that the year they won the Super Bowl? I believe it is.
Yeah, that I mean it's game one, so let's not. It's the week. I meant to say this at the beginning. It's
It's
the
the
week
week
of
of
overreaction,
overreactions.
right?
Yeah.
But Patrick Mahomes looked exactly like his MVP self of 2018, 2019, or maybe 2019, 2020 when he won that MVP and they went on to win the Super Bowl. I mean, with Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, you got Hardman, then you have a lot of depth there with Sky Moore. You got Travis Kelsey, the best tight end in the league,
He
and
has
then
so many toys, it's ridiculous.
a
Like
plethora of running backs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think, punched in 2 or 3 times, so it's good to see.
he had a really good game.
Anybody can play well with Patrick Mahomes, though. Best player
Yeah.
in
So
football. Best player.
definitely think that's a team that for good reason that we certainly haven't been looking over, but I definitely think a lot of people are sleeping on the Chiefs this year with how high everyone is on Buffalo. I think we could see a very similar situation we saw last year with Chiefs Bills. Wouldn't surprise me if Chiefs come out on top again. I think Pat has his number, but we'll have to see later on down the road. Definitely looks like the Bills have just as good of a team. So, I mean, easier said than done to get that matchup in the playoffs, but that's definitely something I think most people are rooting for. We'll have to see what if the Chiefs can keep it up in this highly packed AFC West and AFC conference. So, speaking of the AFC West, we had the Las Vegas Raiders, the debut of this new team with Devontae Adams and the boys, visiting Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers come out on top in this one, 24-19, covering a 3.5 point spread. Jesse was on the Raiders here, plus 3.5. I saw a lot of people were on the Raiders. A lot of just different people on Twitter, kind of a lot of picks given out, but I didn't see too many people with faith in the Chargers here, and didn't really look too commanding. But the Chargers, at no point, I think that 3.5 was in question. I think they were leading by 4 points since the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I think the problem we saw from that Carr offense is a problem that a lot of good teams had throughout the league this week. That when they were struggling, it's red zone goal line issues. Early in the game, they were stalling out in the red zone. They had that Devontae Adams catch and run. A lot of people with Devontae Adams touchdown parlays. I know I had Jefferson, Kelsey, and Adams 20 to win 130. That's great odds. But Adams to get in, and like we said, the first two cashed on the first play of the game, first drive of the game. Adams' first drive of the game, same thing. Gets tackled inside the 3, and they walk away with 3 points there. A lot of that going on in the first half. Looked like they put it together a little bit in the second half. Adams still 8, but the Chargers, I think they were in LA, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
far.
Chargers and Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, dark horse. Not even a dark horse, but MVP candidate. I mean, I was high on Derek Carr. I think they'll bounce back. I mean, new coach week one is a tough thing. That Chargers team has so many pieces on both sides of the ball. It was a good game either way. Both teams could have won. Eager to see the next matchup. I don't know when that falls on the schedule, but that'll be a great game. Every AFC West game will be. But yeah, Chargers proven that they're a legitimate contender this year, I think.
Yeah, I think good things are coming from the Chargers. A lot of people high on them. While you were talking there, I wanted to cut you off, but speaking of week of overreactions, I have ESPN on in the background, and the bottom of the screen just said, "Is Patrick Mahomes better without Tyreek Hill?"
Yeah, like what even is that? Like Patrick Mahomes is good no matter what, but he's probably better with Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, like, oh my god, yeah, there it is again. They're all over. It's next. I can't wait to hear
It's
this.
not like he left because they didn't want him. Same thing with Devontae Adams on the Packers.
Yeah, they're
Like,
acting like all these guys like their team didn't want them. It's like
they
the
can't
same thing
pay
with
him.
Russ. Same thing with Russ. It's like they didn't write the check. It's that simple. And they didn't want to write the check. They were smart enough to trade him before he walked away for
The
nothing.
Chiefs couldn't write the check. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I think
but
that's why everybody was so low on the Chiefs coming into the year, not to touch back on that game too much. But that defense scared so many people. I think
yeah,
they're not worried about Mahomes, but the defense is worried about with nobody on it. But they showed
and
up. Chris Jones had a great game.
I was gonna say, and that's kind of exactly what me and you said with I believe it was the week 0 episode when we were talking about the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. I mean, Mahomes is gonna put up the points. It's the defense. If they let up 24 points, he's still got to keep up with Mahomes. You know what I mean? He's still like you said, the best quarterback, if not top 2 in the NFL.
Best player in
He
the
puts
NFL,
up,
I think.
yeah, it's like he's putting up 30 points a week.
Definitely, definitely. He might have to. Him and the Chiefs, tough schedule, but they might have to go into that Ravens category of always covers. Knock on wood.
But yeah, we'll get into the Sunday night game. We had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers visiting the Dallas Cowboys in Jerry World. The Bucks come out on top, 19-3. Pretty much of a dud of a Sunday night football game, if you ask me. Not much to see from the Cowboys. It looked like they were kind of in it in the beginning. I waited a long time to get my first touchdown. Came in the third quarter from Mike Evans, but better late than never. Crazy game from a scoring standpoint. Mackey had the under, a great game to have the under. Dallas doesn't even score a touchdown. Even in a game like Tampa Bay only scores one and then just a bunch of field goals, like that was a crazy game. I mean, from a scoring standpoint, like that's an under better's dream.
Yeah,
Like
that was a
I'm not too
Brady
much of an under
orchestrated
guy.
W.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's one thing when you bet the under on Tom Brady. Yeah, he can pop off and drop touchdowns to as many a target. Great to see Julio Jones, by the way, looked awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
he did look really good. Just to touch on
he
that
looked
really quick,
healthy and
he
re-energized to play the game.
he looks like he wants to be there.
Yeah, you know what's nice too is the way that the Bucks were scheming him the ball. I like that. A lot of teams are stealing Shanahan's play calling style of getting the ball in your top players' hands. We saw it with Claypool. You saw it with Julio Jones here too. They're just scheming the ball into their hands and seeing what they can do with it. It works out pretty well. You get good athletes moving that fast to the side of the field. It's tough to cover, but
Yeah.
great. Like going back to the under point. Um, the way Brady plays offense, he plays a game to win, right? He doesn't care what his stats are at the end of the day. Obviously, he doesn't want to throw picks, but he just wants to win the game. So the running game was killing that game. Leonard Fournette, over 100 yards. I know that offensive line had a lot of question marks, but they still controlled the game. Micah Parsons did get his, but the Bucks controlled the tempo, and like Brady always does, he suffocates you to death. I don't know what you
Yeah,
think.
I mean that's a pretty good recap. I mean, basically, like you said, really at no point did I think Cowboys. I thought that 2.5 point spread. If anything,
Great.
last year the Bucks were an 8 point favorite week 1 against the Cowboys, won by 2. This year they were a 2 point favorite and blow them out in the 17 or 16 point win. So Bucks come out on top. Brady, all the people calling him out saying he wasn't ready. Um, he was ready. The defense was ready. Tampa Bay looks legit, in my opinion. So definitely a team to look out for. I mean, most people were looking out for them in the NFC, but definitely
Sketchy
a
thing
team that
is
you're going to
though,
want to respect. Go ahead.
you sketchy thing is we were all excited to see Chris Godwin come in and play, but then he leaves the game with a different injury, and now he's questionable again this week. He's one of the more prolific receivers in the NFL, pretty underrated as he's hidden in the shadow of Mike Evans. As I say, this is a good. I'm gonna say it now. Actually, we never talk about it. Huff, real quick, let me just hear your top 7 wide receivers off the rip. Let's hear it.
Devontae, Cup. It's tough to put them in order when you get down this far. Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Hopkins. Um, maybe I feel like there's a couple dudes
3
I'm
more.
forgetting,
Let's
like
hear it. Just spit them.
Debo. Um, I'm trying. I know. There's like 3 people I'm forgetting.
Oh yeah, last 2 though. I'll rattle mine off. I have this conversation often with my buddies.
I know who am I fucking forgetting?
All right, I'll go with mine quick. You ready?
Go.
In order, I got Cup, Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Evans, Stephon Diggs. Actually,
I was forgetting Diggs. I was definitely forgetting Diggs, and I was definitely forgetting Tyreek Hill. Um, you was the other one you had in there, Jamar
Jamar
Chase.
Chase.
Yeah, he's 7. That's
Him and
fine. Yeah.
Justin Jefferson, I think, are making that leap this season to be that top receiver.
I'll take Jefferson over Jamar Chase.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying Cup, Jefferson, Chase, Adams, because Adams is on a decline. Those 2 are on the come up.
Yeah.
And then right after that, I'd put Diggs after Adams. Then I go Hopkins, Hill, Evans. Yeah, give me that.
Yeah, Evans is elite. I like Evans.
But he's like right there. That's what I'm saying though. Chris Godwin being injured is a lot more important than people think. He slots in probably around 15 to 20 in wide receivers in the NFL, but
Where's
he's
DK Metcalf come into that conversation?
probably like 12 around Debo. He's with Debo, him, a few other
AJ
guys too.
Brown, Terry McLaurin,
Yeah, Keenan Allen.
yeah, Mike Williams, just that second tier receiver.
Mike Williams didn't even play this week. Really, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, he had like one catch for
Oh,
three
we didn't
yards.
even touch on that in the Chargers game. The Keenan Allen injury.
Yeah,
Out for
and
a while.
yeah, their receivers just going non-existent, and they won.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But back to the Bucks. Gonna be tough to see what's wrong with Godwin, but you love to see playoff Lenny eating early on in the season. Love to see Brady rolling. The GOAT still doing his thing at 40 whatever years of age. I love the quotes they have. Tom after the game, they're like, Tom, you're the oldest player in the NFL. How does it feel? He's like, I've been the oldest guy for a while. So
Yeah,
same
you have
old,
to
same
please
old.
stop asking me this question. I've been the oldest guy for 5 years.
Literally, it's the same old thing every year. You can't write him off, but I think everybody's starting to accept how good he is. They come to terms with Tom Brady, Tampa Brady, Tampa Brady. That's the guy, Tampa Tom. There it is. But yeah, I mean they're still them, and 2.5 is a very generous line. You're gonna see a lot of those lines bump up now. The Dak injury crucial though, crucial blow to the Cowboys. His
Yeah,
lack of
and
weapons
then
was also terrible. Michael Gallup on the injury report. Jalen Tolbert not even playing snaps, so he was throwing to CeeDee Lamb and Schultz all game on the inside, and then your outside receivers are Noah Brown, somebody else. Noah Brown, that's not a name you want to be hearing often. So they'll
yeah,
they'll be elated to get Gallup back in a week or two, but without Dak, I don't know how far this team goes.
I was gonna say without Dak, that team's gonna be shaky.
Yeah,
And then Monday night, Russ, the return, loses to Seattle. What'd you think of that?
I think their coach is an idiot. Everybody thinks so, but he'll have time. He has a long season to redeem himself. So I'd like to see how he fares in these divisional games.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I basically what I said with all these new offenses. I just think it's like he'll figure it out, with the new head coach, whole thing, they'll figure it out. It's Russell Wilson.
I'd
Just
say
kind of the
more
lights couldn't
so
have been brighter for him week one.
more so a great performance, a great home performance by Geno and the Seattle Seahawks. That
Yeah,
defense was up. The stadium was rocking. Also,
it's one of the hardest places to play in the NFL. Like,
yeah, it's the first time in his career Russell Wilson got to play in front of the 12th man, but they were cheering at him in the huddle. But he didn't seem phased by it. I think the play calling in the red zone, we were all in agreement, was terrible. Yeah, you got to hold on to the ball if you're Javante Williams and Melvin Gordon. Everybody like you, Huff, with that Javante Williams plus 110 anytime touchdown ticket sitting there, had to have been kicking themselves all night long as he's all around the goal line and can't find the back of the end zone.
the biggest torture was I was like, all right, Melvin Gordon just fumbled. I know they're going to Javante next, and then he comes in and does the same thing.
Yep. I think that was an awful play call, though. You have it, even if it's third down, you have the ball on the half-yard line, right? And you're coming out three wide receiver bunch and an offset tight end, and you're running it out of the shotgun. Every other team in the league, every good team in the league, comes out heavy set there. Maybe one receiver to throw off that defense a little bit, but you're running it right under center. You're hammering it right up the middle. Maybe throw a fullback out there. You're getting big guys out there. You're just pushing a half
I was gonna
yard.
say
Where's the
put Randy
QB sneak?
Gregory in at fullback. Like, yeah, Russ, you're acting like you're a statue. Jump
They've
the
made it.
pile.
I don't know if you noticed this too. My favorite Russell Wilson. What's he best at? People who play the video game know this one. If you're a Madden
Extending
guy,
plays.
Russ rolling out, throwing on the run, right? He
Yep.
didn't break that out really until the third or fourth quarter when it was must-win time. But still, a lot of drops by the tight ends in the end zone. Noah Fant probably having a field day on the sidelines for the Seahawks, watching that happen. But perfectly placed balls by Wilson that couldn't be reeled in for six ended up costing him big time. And we all know what happened with the decision at the end of the game.
Yeah, I don't. There's not too much to say about that one. I mean, even Hackett said, I think yesterday, he said if he had to do it over again, he would have went for it.
If you don't know what we're referring to, go look at the Monday Night Football clip, the Peyton and Eli clip talking about the
Yeah,
time management.
yeah.
They get the
Go
ball
look
with
at
50
Peyton
seconds
Manning
left.
sitting there going.
Yeah, I mean Russell Wilson too. I'm gonna put some blame on you. You're a veteran quarterback and you don't call a timeout. You have 3 on the clock. Do something.
That's where Russell Wilson needs to call a timeout and be like, listen, you're a rookie head coach. I've been here for 10 years. We're going for this.
Yeah, I'm surprised Russell Wilson. I thought he had that dog in him. I guess not. Future might be right. You know they were playing some future in the locker room after that game in
Oh
Seattle.
my god, that's the number one torture thing for him. That's such everyone that beats him. That's what they do.
Yeah, but you love to
They go
see
straight to
DK
like
Metcalf.
56 nights.
You know what you love to see though after the game, DK Metcalf, Russell Wilson with the jersey swap. That was an elite tandem. So good to see those
Yeah,
two still on friendly terms.
yeah. But like you said, I think we'll see a lot more from this Denver team. So I'm not
Yeah,
too
that
worried
I
about my
wish
boy.
wish we had a better game. Wish that Bengals Steelers game was a Monday night game. Wouldn't mind that in the prime time. But
That would have been a crazy primetime game if that Steelers Bengals would have happened on like Monday. Imagine if that was a
prob-
Thursday night football game. People would have just been making fun of Thursday night football though.
yeah, probably gonna see that game flex to a prime time if their next matchup already isn't in one.
I think it is. We usually play the Bengals on a Monday night. Alrighty, it is time. We're going to get into the week 2 segment of this week. Take a look at all the games that are coming up this upcoming week. It's going to start up this Thursday night football, the first Amazon game of the year. They're going to get the LA Chargers visiting the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs coming in as a -4.5 point favorite, a -210 money line, and the over/under sitting at 53.5. Mackie, what are you thinking here? Thursday night football.
Yeah, this is a game that I've been looking at for a very long time, and I don't know. I can't bet against Pat Mahomes here after what he did last week. He looked like prime time 2018, 2019 Pat Mahomes um, that won MVP that year. So I don't know. I like the Chiefs. The 4 points scare me. What are they, -200 money line?
210
Maybe a
on
little.
FanDuel.
I don't know. It's a little steep for a money line too. So I like
And
the
like
over here.
I was
54
gonna
points.
say,
It's going to be a high scoring game. So
I was looking at the 53.5 point over. I think it's sitting at -115. You might see that jump to 54, but Ace, you leaning to either side here? I'm liking the over. I'm not. I mean, I guess if I were to pick a side, I'm gonna lean Chiefs. But like Mackie said, I think I was talking to you guys about this earlier. I looked at this line whenever it started. It was -3, and I was like, I love the Chiefs at -3 at home. And then now I look at it, it's -4.5. So we see the kind of line movement that it's getting. Just I'm liking the over, like you said. I liked it last week in Arizona. I like it this week for Kansas City Chargers.
one more thing is, I think we do see a Chargers cover here. I think it's within 4 points, whatever team wins. I think it's a really close game.
Yeah, Mac, you kind of alluded to the point that I was going to make. I actually really think there's a lot of value with the Chargers at +170 here. Even though I'm heavy on the Chiefs, I was talking about it earlier with Patrick Mahomes looking like that MVP front runner like he did in 2019. Um, I think there's too much value on that Chargers money line with so much talent. If you look at the roster front to back, the Chargers are the most complete team in the division almost. They have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball, a well put together team that can attack through the air and on the ground. Eckler didn't have a great week last week. I know Keenan Allen's down, but the depth on that offensive side of the ball is deep. I don't know who I'd take money line or spread in this game because divisional games they play slow, they play tight, keep it to the close to the vest. But I'd definitely be looking at a lot of props. I know this game. I don't know what Kelsey's line's sitting at right now. I'm guessing he's going to sit around 6.5 or 7.5 catches. I'm going to hammer Travis Kelsey at home in the Kingdom. He delivers every week. I don't know why I would hop off the train now.
Seven
What do you
and a
think about
half
that?
is crazy, dude. But like, I think he'll get it. But that's a crazy line.
It's over under
Yeah, I
six,
mean,
over
what
under
did he have
six
last
and a
week?
half on FanDuel.
What is it?
What's that 7.5 line? It might be plus, right?
Over six and a
What's the
half
six and
on
a half?
my over 6.5 is -136.
Yeah, that's what I'd probably play. Also, I'd look at a Travis Kelsey anytime touchdown.
Minus
That'd be
145.
yeah, that'd be another bet. Last week, Travis
Minus
Kelsey came in
plus
with
145.
Minus.
last week he came in with 8 catches for 121 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, he
For this
absolutely
game,
balled out last week.
He's Patrick Mahomes' security blanket in a game that looks to be tight in a shootout with both sides of the ball putting up points and that those good corners on the outside for the Chargers. They just brought in J.C. Jackson. I know they have Derwin James and they have the pass rushers that contain Mahomes, but I think you're going to see a lot of passes over the middle of Travis Kelsey. We've seen him do that before. If you remember against the Bucks in the Super Bowl, they had a similar defense build. Um, I'd be looking at the Travis Kelsey, Patrick Mahomes props because they're going to be sitting back to throw. Mackie.
Yeah, and this is a game that we're going to see both quarterbacks play it a little more safe because it's a divisional matchup. Like you said, you're gonna only do your best plays and like do what you trust. And we saw
Awesome,
Juju fumble last week, so definitely Kelsey with the receptions. I think it'll be up there. I think he'll get there.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at this over. I don't really love either side with the points. I think if I was forced to take the 4.5, I'm definitely leaning with the Chargers. I think it's a field goal game either way. But I do like the high scoring. I'll take the over 53.5. But other than that, like you said, couple props I'd be looking at. I do like that Kelsey sitting at 6.5. The touchdown a little steep. I feel like you could shop that and find a little better odds on that other than minus 145. But I'm not saying you're going to get it at plus money, but definitely going to be maybe minus 120 somewhere, but a little better than the minus 145 where I'm looking at right now. But
it's going to be interesting to see who steps up on the Chargers side of the football. With Keenan Allen down and a light workload for Mike Williams last week, I wonder if it's DeAndre Carter or Josh Palmer that a lot of people have talked about.
yeah,
So
that's kind of what's keeping me away from taking the Chargers spread with this point or at this particular moment. I guess with all the injuries that they had last week, with like you said, Keenan Allen,
yeah,
the kind
real
of
quick,
question mark. Go ahead.
what do you have the lines for the Austin Eckler receiving props?
Just off the rip, his anytime touchdowns minus 135, receiving props 39.5 yards, and let me see receptions here. Give me 1 second.
I bet you it's sitting at 4.5.
4.5 over is minus 136.
Yeah, that's another thing I'd like to look at with the Travis Kelsey prop. Another security blanket for Justin Herbert, a budding star in the league, who's like had a lot of chemistry with Eckler over past years, and his usage was down last week, so I think they got him the ball more this week.
I was gonna say, especially with Keenan Allen out this week.
Short week
I was gonna
against the
say a
Chiefs.
tough short week for the Chargers with these injuries.
Yeah, against the Chiefs,
Huff.
they're going to be playing catch up all day.
Kelsey's minus 150 on DraftKings.
Damn. So that's probably sitting right around there in most places.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get under 145. Maybe like MGM or something.
Yeah, maybe minus 140 is probably the best you're gonna find.
Yeah. Austin Eckler's minus 140 on DraftKings. What's he on?
So there's both steeper. They're minus 135 and minus 145 on here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna do it for me on the Thursday night game. You guys ready to get in these 1 o'clock games on Sunday?
Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
it.
let's get the Sunday slate going.
Alrighty, first game on Sunday, we're gonna have Carson Wentz and the Washington Commanders heading to Detroit to visit Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions. Lions coming in at a minus 1.5 point favorite, a minus 126 money line. And the over/under sitting at 48.5. Ace, I'll hand things off to you for Lions Commanders.
Yeah, pretty interesting game to look at here. Two NFC teams that are looking to bounce back after a tough 2022 run, 2021, 2022 run. Last week, the Commanders had a nice win over the Jaguars. A little come from behind victory, even though they were up most of the game. Carson Wentz had to toss the pigskin around to different receivers. He had Dotson, Curtis Samuel having big days. Not Terry McLaurin, so that's pretty interesting to look at. I
I
like
liked how
I
they
like the
used Dotson last week. I'm a big
yeah,
fan of theirs.
I like the Commanders' money line this week. I know that the Lions are a feisty group. They're tough. They're going to play in every game, but I don't think it's this week against the Commanders.
Want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead. Use the
Yeah,
hand thing. We just gotta use the hand
alright,
thing.
yeah,
I never
yeah,
really
you're
use
right.
it. We just gotta use the hand thing.
Yeah, I didn't really watch much of either of these two games last week between the Lions and Eagles and then the Commanders and the Jaguars. But Carson Wentz stats look really well. He seems to be doing what he needs to get done here. And this is another weak opponent where you got Dan Campbell's Lions here, who's obviously a feisty group. They've been since last year. But this is another time where they just fall a little short as they did it last week against the Eagles.
Feels like a little throwback here with Jared Goff versus Carson Wentz, but they're on different teams this time around. Two once prolific quarterbacks. A Super Bowl
I don't know, is Wentz
contender.
back?
Yeah, Wentz played last week. He had a good
No,
week.
I'm saying is he back?
Oh yeah,
Like back
I
to
think
what he used to
Carson
be?
Wentz is back. He's got good weapons. I like that's a good trio. Samuel, McLaurin, and Dotson. Better than most people's trio.
I do
Yeah,
like. I'm with
definitely.
you,
He's got
Mackie. Who did
options.
you say you liked?
I like the Commanders to win this game. I think the
Yeah,
NFC East has 3 2-0 teams after next week.
Which is hilarious to say, but I agree.
Yeah, and none of them are the Cowboys.
I'm with both of you. I do like Washington in this game. I don't love necessarily the total. If anything, I'd definitely go under. I think Detroit might struggle, but tough situation. But I'm leaning Commanders. Probably won't really have a play on this game, but Commanders sitting at plus 108 money line on FanDuel, so get some plus money there.
What's the
But
what's the total line there?
48.5.
That's pretty low. That's a nice running back duo in Detroit, and those high targets and from Washington. I don't know. Could get tight down the stretch, but
Yeah, that's the
like
kind
I
of
said,
game I'm just staying away from.
yeah, for sure. Tough matchup between the low teams.
Yeah. Next game we have or not even Zach Wilson. I was getting ready to say Zach Wilson. Joe Flacco and the New York Jets heading into Cleveland to visit the Cleveland Browns. Browns coming in as a 6.5 point favorite, a minus 290 money line, and the over under sitting at a low 40.5.
This is um this is this is a weird line in my opinion. Browns looked good last week. They got off to a quick start against the Panthers, and at the end of the day, they held on to a 2 point win, hitting a 58-yard field goal. But I don't know, this Jets team just like you can't have any faith in them. The offense looks bad. The defense looks bad. Joe Flacco is like 45 years old at this point. They don't really have much going for them, especially being on the road here. This Browns team led by Jacoby Brissett looks pretty good, so I like them with the points here, -6.5.
Yeah, that's crazy to say that about the Jets. I was gonna say something pretty similar. I mean, when the Jets look at their calendar year in and year out, they don't have many games that they say we can win. I think this is one of them. I think we saw this matchup a year or two ago when the Browns really had some steam going, and the Jets beat them in East Rutherford. But this is in Cleveland, so I'm not really going to touch the spreads here. Weird line at 6.5, like you said, but I think Nick Chubb finds the end zone this week. He toted the rock for over 150 ground yards and didn't find the end zone last week. So I think it's his time to find Pater after they rewarded Hunt in the red zone and on the goal line.
Yeah, I'm right there with both of you. I'm definitely leaning Cleveland here, but I don't love the 6.5 point spread. I'd like to see this sitting like a little lower, like 3.5, -4 maybe. But I just can't lay 6.5 right now with Cleveland with kind of the uncertainty. But like you said, I'm not necessarily jumping at the bit to bet the Jets plus 6.5 either. So probably going to be staying away from the spread on this one. Like I said, the over under sitting at 40.5, so a low one. The under is actually favorited at -115. So FanDuel's thinking maybe the Jets aren't going to score too many points on this Cleveland defense in their home opener. But tough to say. I'm right there with you. I have Chubb on my one fantasy team last week. He was an absolute dog going for one. I think he had like 145 yards. I think it was right around 150, but 141 if you have the exact stat. Yeah, 141. But not, like you run for 141, you don't get in the end zone like you said. How much they use Kareem Hunt, the duo of running backs they have in Cleveland is they're definitely going to be something that they're going to use with the absence of Deshaun Watson and while Brissett's under center. That's no discount to him. That's just they have two really good running backs there, and that's a lot of people are forgetting that Kareem Hunt wanted traded in the middle of this offseason, and that kind of just like went away whenever I guess he just kind of accepted the role that they were going to run it back. But um, Mackie, I don't know if you got anything else to say on this game.
Yeah, just that committee back there in the backfield for the Browns is something special, and we saw them both go to work this week. Nick Chubb was very high on everyone's fantasy list because everyone expected him to get most of the workload, but Kareem Hunt found the end zone once or twice last week. Once, well, he found the end zone, and
Twice, I
they're
think it
definitely
was
feeding
twice.
both of them. Was it twice? Yeah, he found
Yeah,
the end zone
Yeah, he
twice. So
found the
they're
end
definitely
zone once
feeding.
through the air and once on the ground.
So he's definitely not being forgotten about, and they're using these two running backs very well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you saw Kareem Hunt kind of get that squeaky wheel treatment there. He was complaining about his usage in the offseason. So Stefanski's like, all right, we're going to reward him. If you saw one of his touchdowns, it was a 2 yard scamper. And then that was from the fullback position. I actually like that formation they came out with. They had Brissett under center, lined up Kareem Hunt as the fullback and Chubb as the tailback. So it's tough to cover with those two prolific rushers on the field. Like Mackie said, I think it's the best duo in the league. Um, I think they're a better team when they actually don't have a quarterback to rely on and they can just feed the rock to their two best offensive players. But yeah, Nick Chubb finds the end zone this week. Book it.
Yeah, I was trying to see if I could find any odds on that. There's no odds posted for some of these Sunday games yet, so there's going to be something you have to stay tuned to the Instagram for. So, um, we will jump into this next game at NFC South Showdown with Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading to New Orleans to visit the Jameis Winston and the fighting New Orleans Saints coming back in that big win last week against Atlanta. Another divisional game for the Saints. Saints coming in as or Bucks coming in as a -2.5 point favorite, a -140 on the money line. Saints sitting right there at +120. The over/under sitting at 44.5. Ace, I'll hand things off to you for your boy Tom Brady.
Tommy B, the GOAT, a -2.5 line. We're smacking that right away, just like we did on Sunday Night Football. I know that Brady struggled with the Saints team a lot in the past. He even said it in his latest interview. This is like after the game the other day, he literally said, "This is a team that we've struggled with." So I think he actually gets over the hump this time, uh, takes it out on a Saints team that doesn't have too much going for it. I know they have Taysom Hill as a nice little X factor on the ground, but that Bucks front seven is so strong on that side of the ball. I think they stymie any type of trick play they have. Watch Jarvis Landry and Michael Thomas for a big game this week. But I love the Bucks -2.5, and with them losing so many pieces on defense, New Orleans, I think it's a tough ask with James Winston at the helm. Mackie, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I'm definitely on the same side as you in this game. At the end of the day, you're looking at Tom Brady against Jameis Winston, and I think you take Tom Brady every single time, -2.5. Neither of these teams really looked that good last week. I would say the Bucks only put up 19 on Dallas defense. They were in the red zone countless number of times, only scored one touchdown. Tom Brady was shaky, threw an interception. So I don't know. I think we see a different Tom Brady this week. I think he owns this division, and he's going to show it this week. So yeah, give me the Bucks -2.5.
No,
Yeah,
Brady last week went 18 for 27 for 212, one touchdown, one pick. He was efficient, but he has a lot more volume to go.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
I mean, he threw a late touchdown. It was a nice catch, nice throw, back shoulder to Mike Evans. But he also threw an interception, and I don't know. I feel like you were in the
yeah,
red zone so many times. You should have had more points than 19.
yeah. I'm right there with both of you. I think getting the Bucks at a -2.5 here. I think kind of back to what Ace said. Him kind of the interview with him kind of talking about the Saints and them being the team that they've struggled with, or at least since he's got to Tampa. And historically, the past couple of years, the Saints have kind of had the Bucks number. I do think this week, I think the Bucks come out on top by 2.5 or more. I do like the Bucks -2.5. So, um, I think this one's personal for Tom. I think he's definitely kind of trying to start on a little run here. I like him to start out 2-0 by three or more. So, give me the Bucks -2.5. I'm right there with you. Definitely going to want to get this one in. Before it goes to three. Just if you can get the win on three, you know what I mean. Might as well get by it now. So, um, the next game is Baker Mayfield coming off a loss to his Cleveland Browns. Baker Mayfield and the Carolina Panthers heading into East Rutherford to face Daniel Jones and the 1-0 New York Giants. Giants coming in at a -1.5 point favorite. Giants money line is -126, and the Panthers sitting right there at +108 as well. The over/under for this game is going to be set at 43.5. Mackie, I will hand things off to you as you were the one that said Giants +5.5 last week. Me and Ace clowned you for it. They end up getting the win outright. I'm big, not necessarily this game. I love the Giants head coach. That video of him in the locker room. What's his name? Dable from the Bills.
Dave, what the fuck's his name, man?
Brian Dable.
Brian Dayball.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I'm a big fan of his. So, um, I think good things are coming from the Jets or the Giants. Sorry, but I'll hand things off to you. What do you like this week? Jets or I said it again. Giants, Panthers.
Yeah, this is a game that I've gone back and forth with a few times, and at the beginning of the week I was leaning Panthers, but I think this is a good situation for the Giants to be in. They're at MetLife, coming off a nice gritty win, a come from behind win. Nobody had any faith in them that entire game, and I don't know. I think Daniel Jones has some confidence for the first time in his career where he can come off a nice win in another game where he can actually win another one, and Baker Mayfield's still kind of meshing with that team, and they don't really have it all figured out over there in Carolina. So this is a game where they can ground and pound. Saquon Barkley can go for a touchdown or two, and they can come out on top. I think the Giants win this game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I do like the Giants this week. I think them in the home opener, like you said, Baker Mayfield hasn't really. I mean, he had a pretty solid game last week. They did show their growing pains. I do think that's going to continue this week on the road. I just think this Giants team has a little bit of a swagger to them right now that they could start out on a little bit of a run. Coming back home to East Rutherford for the home opener this week. An unproven Panthers team. I think the Giants get the win here. Give me the Giants -1.5.
Wow, I couldn't have disagreed with you guys anymore. I think I said it earlier. What is it? Week 1, the week of overreactions. I think the New York Giants come back to life. They come back to earth this week against the Panthers. They don't have as much wiggle room to come back in the fourth quarter for Saquon Barkley big runs to spur the offense. That Carolina Panthers defense is much stronger than Tennessee's was last week, and the Giants barely squeaked by. Should have lost on that late field goal. I think they're going to be celebrating this win too much. First big win since the infamous boat picture, I think, with Odell Beckham Jr. in it. But
Sterling
Baker
Shepard.
Mayfield, like you said, it didn't come together right away in the first half. But that Cleveland Browns defense is one of the best defenses in the league. It plays in the AFC North. You have Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year candidate, chasing you down. And if I'm not mistaken, you guys were
Whoa.
heavy on them last week. You're stepping away this week, and Baker Mayfield finally was clicking on offense in that second half. I think he continues that hot streak that he had in the second half of the game. I think the Panthers come out and win this game, maybe by a score or two.
See, I think a lot is contingent on the Panthers' use and effectiveness, I guess you would say, of McCaffrey. They kind of didn't really go to him too much early on last week against Cleveland, and me having him in fantasy, that's obviously something I'm looking at. But I think give the ball to your best player. Like you have a new quarterback and a new system. Give the ball to your best player. They were trying to feed things downfield, and eventually he had the late hookup with Robbie Anderson that ended up making it a game. But this is one I'll be watching all the way up till Sunday. This is one that I usually like these kind of random games that I probably wouldn't watch. This is kind of game I like this kind of pick 'em lineup. So this is one I'll be watching. Right now, I'm kind of like Mackie. I was looking at the Panthers. I'm like, I like Baker to come off. I see in your opinion with the Baker comes off of this, kind of keeps things rolling. Comes into New York. I think I saw a stat today. I think he's 6-0 against the NFC East or some. He's undefeated against the NFC East. So it's gonna, you hear a stat like that, it's gonna be interesting to pull that into it. So, but I'll be watching this one all the way up.
Give
till
me
Sunday.
give me the Panthers on my card right now, money line. That's a lot. Are you kidding me? The Panthers last week, you guys were all so high on the Panthers. They burned you once in a shootout game with a good Cleveland Browns team, and now you're thinking that the Giants who
Why?
eked out a win they
What
eked
makes
out a win over Tennessee. They lost by the foot of their kicker from
what
Tennessee.
makes that Browns team good?
The
What's to
best
say
running back duo in the league who combined for over 250 yards from scrimmage and 2 total touchdowns. That Panthers defense, Daniel Jones isn't going to be able to do what he did to that defense. Saquon Barkley won't be breaking those runs. I like the Panthers money line. Maybe alternate spread for a really good line. Give me that on the card now.
Let's see it. You gonna take it 2 units?
Well, I make it 2 units. I haven't had a 2-unit play yet. I'm not doing it
Here's
on
one
a
of
team with 0 wins.
Here's one of Jesse's stats that he had pulled since the start of last season. The Panthers and Jaguars are tied for an NFL worst 5-13 against the spread since the start of last season. Obviously, Panthers not covering last week.
I'm feeling dangerous. Give me the Panthers money line. Remember when we all
Nice.
put in those Panthers futures bets at plus 900? Remember last week when they were on everybody's card? They have a way lesser opponent. I like the Panthers this week a lot.
I like the Panthers at home. That was the main reason I was leaning on them. I thought they came out hot week 1 at home.
I think
Like
they're
I
good in
said, they didn't.
Carolina.
Yeah, they didn't use McCaffrey much. I like the defense. I think they do win their games. It's just like I said, this is what I'm going to be watching up until the bit. I do like. I mean, I see your side with Carolina, so
I
not
think the Giants are
necessarily
one of
like
the worst in the league. They're fighting for that top draft pick. They won that fluke game last week. They're going to go to 1-1. Ball don't lie. A kick both ways in both of those teams last week costed the game. Like, think about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they're way different teams. Browns and Panthers are on a whole different level
All
than
right,
Giants.
dude. So are the Seahawks and the Broncos, and Seahawks came out on top in that game. I don't know why.
You
'Cause
going to take the
home
Seahawks
team-
this week, though?
No, of course not. Well, who
All
are
right.
they playing?
I don't care. I
Well,
wouldn't
they're
take
gonna-
them
The
again this
Niners.
week.
The Niners. Well, they're on the road, but probably
Yeah.
not. But
Yeah.
I would say the Niners are a little better than the Panthers.
Yeah, but the Seahawks aren't. The Seahawks don't even breathe in the same sentence as the Panthers.
I don't know, dude. Geno Smith's here.
You have a Russell Wilson poster behind you.
What does that mean? I can't like Geno Smith.
Nah, you can't be talking him up after he just
I'm
did
from
that
West.
thing.
I'm going to West Virginia, bro. You know where Geno Smith went to college?
Yeah, that was way before you were born.
Doesn't matter. I still like Tavon Austin.
Tay awesome. RIP his career.
We'll get into another Sunday 1 o'clock game. Aces New England Patriots coming to the newly named Acrisure Stadium, visiting my Pittsburgh Steelers. Patriots coming in at a -2.5 point favorite, a -126 money line. And the over/under sitting at 40.5. Steelers money line is +108. Ace, why don't you start us off on this one?
Yeah, sketchy game with the two best players on both teams' offensive side of the ball coming in injured, banged up to say the least. Najee Harris, he's questionable for the game. I don't know if there's a definite ruling. Mac Jones, X-rays came back.
I heard he's
Who's
playing.
him?
He's playing.
Najee's playing, yeah, but he's banged up to say the least. For
Yeah,
the amount of snaps he's going to see, for the amount of snaps Mac Jones sees, the amount they touch the ball, they're banged up to say the least already in week 2. 2 second-year players. I think it's going to be a slow day from both sides of the ball. Maybe see some turnover scores. What do you got for an over/under on that game?
40.5.
Yeah, that's really low. This is a tough game. Another Patriots game that I can't touch. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to look at. Ty Montgomery, the Patriots' only touchdown score of last week, going onto the IR. I mean, you'd say they have to lean on that ground game, but that Steelers defense is so loaded up front. How do you do so? And I'd say the same about the Patriots side. 2 bad offensive lines. You'll see a nice gritty football game this Sunday between these two teams.
Yeah. I think I'm obviously going to be sitting on the other side. So I think Steelers come home, obviously coming off a high win, crazy game. I mean, really shouldn't have won that game at a lot of different points. But coming out with the win in Cincinnati, coming into this one 1-0, like you said, Patriots only scoring the 7 points in Miami last week. Not really looking too much at. I kind of had the Steelers winning starting out 1-1. I thought they were going to lose in Cincinnati, like most people. Coming out and surprising myself as a Steeler fan, but I'll take the Steelers. I'm in a weird game. I'm going to buy the half point. Give me them +3, just in case. I do think the Steelers can come out, win this game outright on their home turf. A lot of, like you said, Najee with the question mark next to him. How ready is he, or how healthy is he? Is he, you know what I mean? Like, I hate when they kind of like push these guys back. They're like, oh yeah, he's playing. It's like, well, was he playing at 60%, or is he playing at, you know what I mean, 100%? Because there's a big difference with that, especially like you said, a guy like Najee that's going to be getting all these touches in the offense, kind of a new offense with not a lot of passing game really proven last week. You know what I mean? They had their struggles. Like I said, a lot of these new offenses, you're going to see the growing pains with it, and Steelers are one of them. Inconsistent offensive line. But with TJ Watt out, that's going to be the biggest one. So if Minka and Miles Jack can have another really big game, I think Miles Jack was a huge addition for the Steelers defense and the linebacking core. I'll take the Steelers +3.
Yeah, this is crazy to say for me because last week I couldn't make a pick on the Patriots game. Kind of figured they were going to lose to a lesser team in the Dolphins. And I think of the Steelers, but I think I'm going to say I'm not going to put this on my card, not going to play it heavy, but I'm going to say the Patriots get the win this week. I mean, Bill Belichick against Mitch Trubisky, I like those odds a lot. No TJ Watt. I don't think the Steelers are able to overcome their offensive deficiencies. I think the Patriots have a little bit more to show this week. They're going to be a little bit hungrier coming off a loss. I'll take the Patriots in this, like I said, but nothing too heavy on this game.
And Mackie, let me say something real quick before you get into your take. The Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin, 46-23-2 against the spread as an underdog, adding another win to his record last week in Cincinnati.
Yeah, coming from a neutral standpoint, I know you guys both have a lot of feelings going into this game, but Ace, you did say it's Mitch Trubisky against fucking Bill Belichick. The only problem is Bill Belichick doesn't play the actual game of football; he coaches it. And I think this. No, not even a chirp. I'm just saying. At the end of the day, he can't go out there and play quarterback. So depending on Mac Jones and how does X-rays coming back? How's he doing?
He's banged up, but he's going to play.
Yeah, so you don't really have him at 100%. I think this Pittsburgh defense is just.
Is there a situation we see Zappy?
Zero situation. Say Mac Jones didn't even go, it would be Brian Hoyer for sure.
Is he still on the team?
Oh yeah, he's a coach. He's probably calling the offense. Nobody knows who's calling the offense. But interesting piece. I don't know if you guys saw Kendrick.
I don't want to cut Mackie off. Let Mackie keep going on his point.
All right. I'll tell you quick. Kendrick Bourne though benched last week by Matt Patricia for missing a meeting.
Yeah, but I just think this Pittsburgh defense is way too much for an injured Mac Jones and this Patriots offensive line. Ultimately, I think it's a really low-scoring game. Mitch Trubisky played it last week very safe, not really throwing the ball too deep downfield. We saw that Deontay Johnson insane grab that he had. One of the only ones he actually threw a bit of a deep ball there. But I think they just ground and pound a lot of pressure on Najee. He's not 100% either, but I think they squeak another one out here.
I think, Mackie, like you said, obviously Bill Belichick isn't going on the field and playing quarterback, but he is controlling that defense. He makes something out of nothing, no matter who's his defensive cores. We see that year in and year out. Reminiscent of that 10-3 Super Bowl win over the LA Rams and Sean McVay, the reigning Super Bowl champions. But
that's a team that got to the Super Bowl with Tom Brady, not a team that's 0-1 and didn't make the playoffs last year.
Yeah, no, but like I said before, I'm going to say they're not relying on their offense. If they can find a way to punch it in once or twice, I think that might be enough this week. I think that defense does numbers and maybe even gets a score of their own. I'd look at New England defense or special teams score this week at a good line.
I just think you're forgetting what they did to the AFC Championship winners last year.
Yeah, I think, but they go so conservative on offense this week in New England that without TJ Watt too, I think you can actually run the ball.
I mean, that is so big. It's just like
best player on the team.
Yeah, definitely, but he's not the only.
Yeah, he's not the only guy on that.
Yeah, I'm just leaning Patriots.
It will be weird. It will be weird how they
for good reason. Like I understand why you're liking the Patriots.
Yeah, last week I didn't like us against the Dolphins really, and if you had TJ Watt, it would be a different story. I'd probably go no play again just because I can't bet against my boys. But without TJ Watt, I think he's the biggest X factor on your team. I think we have more playmakers, difference makers on our team, enough to make a difference and win the game. I'm saying.
Definitely gonna
it'll be a good,
I know what you mean.
Good game for sure though.
Alrighty, we will get into the next one. Let me see here. I believe it is the Indianapolis Colts visiting the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Colts coming in as a -4.5 point favorite on this one, a -196 money line. The over/under sitting at 44.5. Colts came to a halt last week against the Texans, ending the game in a tie. Jags losing by 6 to Washington, and like I said about the Carolina, the Jaguars, NFL worst 5-13 against the spread since the start of last season. So with the Colts with the tie last week, are you guys more leaning Indianapolis here? Ace, I'll start things off with you as you had Colts money line on the card last week. A push. I know you didn't hit the parlay, but you actually hit one, lost one, and pushed one on that 3-legger.
Yeah, the Colts interesting team to look at. They didn't really get Jonathan Taylor went off, but he didn't. I think they can use him again for that many yards. He didn't take over the game in any sense until the second half. I think they get him going early. I like this Jaguars team last week. That's the thing. But I don't think they have enough to stand with the Colts. I'm going to roll with them again. They bailed us out with a push in other places. I know not on that play I had on the card. But, Mackie, you have something to say about these Colts?
Yeah, I was just very disappointed in that team that came out last week. Even with Jonathan Taylor putting up 160 plus yards and a touchdown, they still weren't able to escape a pretty weak Houston Texans team, in my opinion. Davis Mills had a good game, kept them in it the entire game, got them the tie, but I just don't think that the Colts did anywhere near enough to just get out of that game alive. And that Jags team put up a really good fight last week. You saw Doug Peterson trust Trevor Lawrence to throw the ball constantly. He threw 42. He had 42 passing attempts. He threw an interception. He threw for 275 yards. But I just think it's a different Jaguars team this year, and I think being a home dog in a divisional matchup is very profitable. So give me the Jaguars in this game.
Yeah, like I said, week one though, I think there's a lot of pressure on those teams. Give me the Colts this week. Not going to throw it on the card. They burnt us a little bit, saved us, but burnt us. Not going to throw it on the card with 4 points, but I might look at throwing them in one of my cheaper parlays. I think they're going to have let loose a little bit more. See Michael Pittman and Jonathan Taylor take over again for a nice Colts win to go 1-1.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning kind of with Mackey here, I guess I'd say. I like Jacksonville with the points. Divisional home dog. I'd rather give points than take. I've said that since we started the podcast last year. Give me Trevor Lawrence to come out here, have, you know what I mean, somewhat of a game to start out their season, week 2 home opener. Um, I like the Jaguars here. Yeah, give me the Jaguars with the points. I'll take the 4.5. Maybe even like see that in a teaser, get that up to 6.5, maybe 7.5 up there somewhere. So I do like Jacksonville as a home dog, not necessarily to win the game, but give me the points. But we will get into the next one. We have the Miami Dolphins visiting the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens coming in at a -3.5 point favorite, a -190 money line, and the over/under coming in at 44.5. Both of these teams coming up big against their opponents last week. Let's see what they can do against each other this week coming into week 2. Ravens 9-2 against the spread in their last 11 games against Miami. Mackie, I will hand things off to you.
Lamar Jackson last week got off to a little bit of a rough start, and he started slow. A lot of people were hating on him in the beginning of that game, and then we just saw the old Lamar Jackson as he popped off and did what he needed to do to get past this Jets team. I'm gonna ride this Ravens team until they fail me. I think they end up with maybe the best record in the league this year, and I think Lamar Jackson just has another stellar performance. Yeah, I think this line should be more around like 5.5, 6. Dolphins didn't really impress me that much last week against a pretty weak Patriots team. I guess you could say they're kind of weak. I don't really know. I don't know. I wouldn't.
You didn't want to get too
I wasn't even really trying to call them weak, but like they're definitely on the bottom half of the teams in the NFL. But
you didn't want to get
yeah,
too touchy there.
I just don't think the Dolphins have enough of it in them to come into Baltimore and put up really much of a fight. I think Ravens win this game by 7+ points.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. I'll be riding the Ravens spread. Last week against the Jets, -6.5. We took the -6. Right here, -3.5. I think interesting move by the hook. I think. Let me see what the alternate spread to get this at -3 would be on FanDuel. FanDuel doesn't let you do the alternate spreads of like whole points. They make you do the half point. Let me see what -2.5 for.
I thought we were all going to be
Baltimore.
easy, instant, all in unity here. Ravens spread. I thought we were riding that till it dies. I've talked enough on the Ravens all year, but I'll take the Ravens spread in this game.
Yeah, the -2.5 is -170. That's the thing. Like when you buy the whole point, it drops super crazy. But that
It's
tells me you can
insane,
get the
yeah.
-130, like -140,
It's
or you can get the -3 at -140 or so. So, but yeah, I like the Ravens here. Give me the Ravens at home.
Ravens spread lock again. But for peace of mind, I always say it. Give me that half point. Give me that half a point. Worst case
Yeah.
scenario, it comes down to that leg of Justin Tucker to give you a push. But I think the Ravens.
And we've
will
seen
win.
it before with the Ravens. So
Yeah.
give me the half point. I'll take the -3.
Yeah, but the Ravens minus 3.5. Come on, my Super Bowl pick. They're gonna roll this week.
Alrighty. We will get into the Atlanta Falcons going into SoFi to visit the defending Super Bowl champion LA Rams. Rams coming in at a -10.5 point favorite. I believe that's got to be our biggest spread of the week. Rams money line -550. The over/under is sitting at 45.5. Ace, how are you feeling on this one?
Oof, what a tough line for a tough looking team last week in the Rams. I mean, everybody's expecting a big bounce back by Matt Stafford, but Marcus Mariota proved to play pretty well. They pulled the classic Falcons and blew the game late. So if you were to go with the Rams in a money line, I'd be say wait until the fourth quarter, third quarter area. But yeah, this is a tough one here. I think that's too many points to take the Rams, and the Falcons played tough last week. I'm staying away from this game.
Yeah, I'll be staying away from this one. I think this is another game if I want to take something on it. Give me the Rams and a teaser. Get them down around like 6.5 or lower. So
I was thinking
Um,
Falcons in a teaser.
raise them up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
I mean, either way, I don't like the 10.5. So I mean, that's the whole point of the teaser. Is
10 and a
just get
half,
the
you
1
tease
point
them up,
away.
you get them up.
I mean, that's a you got to have a third leg in there. That you wouldn't be getting that at like -110.
Yeah, I'd definitely be
I think
Falcons.
I think either way you tease this, you win. I
Yeah.
think this game sits around 10 points, 8 to 10 points.
It's
Yeah.
just I don't want to pick my side on 10.5. I'd rather pick it on -6.5 or
That's
plus,
what I'm
like
saying.
you said,
That's what I'm saying.
plus
Yeah.
14
So much
or
value on the
17.
Falcons, but I can't bring myself to do it.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe in
think,
a cheap money line parlay.
Yeah.
Mackey's gonna do it too in a cheap money line parlay. I know he is.
What, the Falcons?
Yeah.
No, if anything, I'd just throw them on their fucking money line, dude. They're plus 425.
That's what I'm saying. You throw the plus 425 money line in a cheap parlay.
Dude, if that hits and then something else misses, how pissed would you be? If you could have
Yeah,
just
but
got that straight.
You just if that's hitting, something else is hitting. Come on.
No, until it doesn't. We've seen that too
Until
many
it
times.
doesn't. Until it doesn't. You'll put them in a parlay with like the fucking Bills at -10 and the Bills will lose or something.
Yeah, a couple bucks at most though. I'm not putting any significant money on that 475.
No, yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, that's definitely a game I'll be staying away from unless that's. I mean, like I said, that's like prime teaser opportunity.
That's gonna be a
for that
boring
spread,
game.
but yeah, I'm not going to be watching that one.
Cooper Cup though.
Next one, we have an NFC West divisional matchup. Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks coming off a Monday Night Football win against Russ, going to Levi Stadium to visit Trey Lance and the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers coming in an 8.5 point favorite, a -390 money line. Seahawks at +310. And the over-under sitting at 41.5. What are you guys leaning here? Mackie?
Yeah, that's Geno Smith and the first place Seattle Seahawks. Let's not forget that. They're the only team in that division that went 1-0 after every other team was more hyped up than them. Kind of the same, kind of the opposite that happened in the NFC East with the Cowboys going 0-1 and everyone else going 1-0. But I think the Seahawks come back to reality this week, and they have a tough time playing against that Niners defense. I think Trey Lance kind of figures it out a little bit more. He's obviously still learning every day. Having a week under his belt is huge. Obviously, he's coming off a loss to the team that had the least expectations coming into this year in the Chicago Bears. But I think he has a nice bounce back game where he has a nice environment, being at home, and evidently going against a pretty weak team.
Yeah, I don't think this game's being played in the torrential downpours of Soldier Field, so I'm liking Trey Lance to bounce back this week. I'll take him to win this game. Definitely, that roster's too stacked. I know they don't have a run game, so you're going to see more Debo Samuel work. A lot of people ran to the waiver wire in fantasy leagues for Jeff Wilson Jr., but Debo Samuel is going to get the high volume touches there. Not high volume, high impact touches in the red zone. Definitely on the 49ers here. I've been heavy on them before. They burnt me in parlay last week, but that's 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 a different type of football game, especially for a first career start. Taking the 49ers to redeem themselves. Kyle Shanahan's too good of a coach.
You guys are both writing off Geno, huh?
Oh, for sure.
I think he had his moment of fame.
That's now 10 straight covers on a spread. Wish I would have
What's
seen
the
that
spread of this
stat coming
game?
into Monday night. 8.5.
I don't know about the spread here. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not taking the Niners spread, but I'm taking the Niners to win the game.
Yeah, I think that's a good number on this game. I think it'll sit around either a touchdown or a 10-point game.
This is another game I'm looking to get the Seahawks at like plus 10.5. Divisional game, give me the points. If I can get 10 points in a divisional game, like you said, I think 49ers win the game. But Trey Lance still, question marks around this 49ers team. What are they going to be able to do? Get the ball in your best player's hands, Debo. But Seattle can play last week, like you said. That could be a lot of people are saying that was their Super Bowl. That was their kind of what they were playing for was to win. I'm not saying Seattle comes out with the win, but you give me that team with 10 points in a divisional matchup, I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean they can give you 10 points, but you got to hope they can. That weak Seattle defense is as hyped for this game as they were in front of the 12th man with Russ's homecoming. I mean, I don't think the Seahawks can even score, let alone 10 points against this loaded 49ers defense. I think the Seahawks struggled to win against Broncos team at home in the prime time. I mean, they were hyped up for that game. That team's so weak. This roster for the 49ers owns the trenches on both sides, has playmakers in all the skill positions. I think they get this one done for sure. I might even look at the spread, but that's a high number, so I'm not positive on that.
I like the under here. I know it's a low under 41 points, but I don't think Geno Smith gets
You guys
anything
believe
going
in that
this week.
Seattle defense?
No.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, not that he's the best player in the world, but they just lost Jamal Adams, and it seemed like the defense got a little better in the second half.
All they
Um,
have is that linebacker that took over Bobby Wagner's role. What's his name? He's going to
I
be
think,
one of the next big linebackers.
yeah, I can't think of his name either. He is a stud. I mean, they got Quandre Diggs. They have players on Seattle, like we said. They have DK, Tyler Lockett. I mean, Noah Fant. They have options for Geno to go to on the offensive
Jordan
side of the
Brooks.
ball. Yeah, that's his name from Philly, right? Didn't they get him from Philly? Or am I thinking of a different guy?
You might be right. I can't remember exactly.
But yeah, I just think in this one, I'll ride the Geno 10 straight covers. Give me Seattle, or give me Seattle. Like I said, I want to tease them up a little bit. I don't love 8.5. It's a weird number, but yeah, I'll ride Geno. I'm not writing them off. Alrighty, next we have Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals heading into Jerry World to visit Mackey's Dallas Cowboys. Joe Burrow and the Bengals are coming in as a minus 7.5 point favorite, a minus 335 money line, and the over under sitting at 42.5. Mackey, I'll hand things off to you first for this one.
Yeah, obviously everything going on with the Cowboys. You don't have Dak Prescott. You're starting Cooper Rush in this game. After the game last week, being a Cowboys fan, there's not a lot of hope in this season. And I think if we saw Dak Prescott in this game, I think this would be a really tough spot for Joe Burrow to bounce back. And I think we would see the Bengals fall to 0-2 essentially. But I think this is a perfect situation for him now to bounce back because he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. There's no threat for the Cowboys on offense. They're going to be short drives, 3-and-outs a lot. Joe Burrow's going to have a bounce back game and pick apart that pretty weak Cowboys secondary. In my opinion, I think they are a little gassed up with Trayvon Diggs being back there, obviously, but I think the Bengals eat this week. I don't think the Cowboys get anything going. Cooper Rush is not him, and he's not going to be the answer.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I like the Bengals comeback, bounce back week. Tough divisional loss against the Steelers last week at home. I think they go down to Dallas, handle business. I like the Bengals minus 7.5. Ace, how are you feeling?
I definitely agree. No Dak Prescott, no Dallas Cowboys is the way I look at it. We've seen this story before. And Joe Burrow started to click with Chase at the end of that game. We know the weapons in Cincinnati. We saw them last year. I know that we've been harsh on them here, but without without Dak Prescott, I mean, you're going to see Michael Parsons get a few big plays, but that's about it. I mean, I think the Bengals roll here. I said it last week. I'll roll back with it this week. The Bengals and Joe Burrow are going to have a big game this week against Dak Prescott list Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I definitely agree here. Wish I could disagree.
Yeah, so
but
we're all riding the Bengals this week. I like the spread. So, um, what's next? We have the Houston Texans going a mile high for Russell Wilson's home opener with the Denver Broncos. Broncos coming in at a 9.5 point favorite, minus 460 money line, and the over under sitting at 45.5. I do not have any stats on this one. Um, Tough spread here for the 9.5. But Ace, how are you feeling on this one?
Remember last week when you were making fun of me for that Houston Texans team and they almost came out and beat the Indianapolis Colts on opening
I don't know
week?
who was making fun of you. You can quote the podcast. It's Texans plus 7.5 the entire time.
All right. You guys were saying, are you taking a money line? I almost did. It's all right. They
You
pushed
took Colts
anyways.
money line.
Yeah, I know I did. I know, but hey, it pushed either way. So
You're coming at us. You're the one that had Colts on the card, bro.
yeah, the Colts are the better team. I don't think the Texans put it together. You can go back and read those quotes. I didn't think they were going to be putting it together that early. I mean, it's another week where I'm saying they're still not going to be that team yet. Later in the year, they'll get their wins. But that 10 points for the Broncos is a lot. Playing in front of their home fans at Mile High will be nice for Russell Wilson. But that defense scared me, and the play calling from the first-year head coach is not something to be proud of, along with the fumbles, too. Mackie.
yeah, I think this is a game that a lot of people look at and they're like, "Oh, Broncos didn't come out last week. Texans did come out last week," and they're gonna think that 10 points is a little too much. But I think that's what they want you to think. You got Russell Wilson coming off of a week where with a new offense, with a new head coach, with a new everything, and I think he's feeling it out still. And I think being home in that altitude will be a big problem for Davis Mills. Not home, but it'll be a big problem for Davis Mills and that Texans team. And I think the Broncos kind of walk all over them. I think Russell Wilson has a big game at home. He's in a nice environment, and he's gonna have a big game here.
Yeah, the struggles that he had last week in Seattle, there was so much going into that game. I mean, like I said, the lights could have never been brighter for him in a week one game. Him, obviously, his first game, everyone knows the storyline. His first game as a Bronco back in Seattle, loses the game. So I think he gets uh, back on things or back on track here, I should say. 9.5, I don't love, but I'll take it with the Broncos at home against a Texans team that, like we said, they had a tie last week. Good cover on the spread there, but this week against a pretty legitimate Broncos team, I like the Broncos. It's tough to take them coming off a loss, but like you said, at home, I think they get their fans under them in that tough altitude, and they get the win by 10 or more. I think you'll see the ball flying high in the air with Russ. I like him with maybe two, three TDs this week. I think he comes out and balls on this Texans
Yeah,
defense.
I agree with that, Huff, for sure. We looked at heavy props for this game, which was in the Sunday night spot, but I'm thinking Russell Wilson has a big stat game here. Not believing that defense enough to lay 10 points for them, but I'll take a Russ prop this week over 2.5 touchdowns probably through there.
You're gonna run it back.
I'm gonna run it back, and we're gonna up it another touchdown.
Love the confidence.
Alrighty, the next game we have Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals heading to Vegas to visit Derek Carr and the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders coming in at a minus 5.5 point favorite, a minus 240 money line. Cardinals money line coming in at plus 198, and the over under sitting at 51.5. Ace, two of your teams I know you root for. I'll hand things off to you.
Yeah, definitely. The Raiders and the Cardinals, two teams coming off of a tough loss to valid opponents last week, both looking to have big seasons with a lot of talent on both sides of the ball for each squad. Good coaching with McDaniels versus Kingsbury too. So I'm gonna take the over in this game. I think both offenses put up a lot of touchdowns. The Cardinals defense, the Raiders defense, nothing special on either side of the ball. I know they have the pass rushers in Vegas. Um, 5.5 is too many points for the Raiders, but they're gonna be at home in that brand new stadium. not brand new anymore, but still, I'm going to say brand new stadium with the way it looks. I think McDaniels gets his first win this week against Kingsbury, but I'm going to take the over for sure. See Adams, Wallach, Murray, Carr, all have big days. Mackie, what do you have to think about this game?
Yeah, I think this is a really good spot for the Cardinals to come in. We saw that Raiders team last week against a really good Chargers team, and that was only a 5-point game, but that wasn't really that as close as the scoreboard says. I think the Chargers had complete control of that game, and I don't know. I don't really have much faith in this Raiders team. We saw Kyler Murray last week against a really tough opponent in the Chiefs, so obviously they got blown out and they didn't have the best game, but he threw for two touchdowns and 193 yards and didn't turn the ball over. So after a game like that, I think this is a good position for him to bounce back after signing a big contract. I think they told him you got to get it under control. You got to get some wins under your belt. So I think he has a big game this week. I think to come out on top.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good game. This is definitely, if not, this should be the kind of whatever they call the game of the week, the little afternoon matchup. They love to dub that. But Raiders, 5.5 is a tough number. Coming off a loss, I know they only lost by 5 to a divisional opponent in the Chargers, a very legitimate Super Bowl contender. Ace, I'm right there with you. I love the over 51.5. I think we see a big day from Devontae, Hunter Renfrow, Waller. And then you look at the Cardinals side of the ball, I think we might see a Hollywood Brown touchdown, maybe James Conner finding the end zone, maybe a Kyler Murray rush. I think we see a lot of points in this game both ways. I don't know who I love with the spread, but give me the over 51.5 in this one.
Yeah, like I said, I think we can all see some high flying scoring. This game definitely going to be a good one to watch. Last game of the day with Scott Hansen on that 7 hours of commercial free football. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Definitely have some good picks for these Sunday night and Monday night games. I'll be digging in to find some great props that me and Mackie hit on last week, looking to hit again. So make sure you check out the card. I'm hopping off here, but the boys will get you some good picks for those last 2 games of the week.
Thanks, Ace.
Sounds good. Alrighty, we will get into this next game. We have Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears visiting Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. Packers coming into the minus 9.5 point favorite, minus 450 money line, in the over/under sitting at 41.5. Mackie, how you feeling about this one? Do you think Rodgers bounces back after only scoring 7 in Minnesota last week? I mean, I remember we kind of talked about this last week. Last year we took the Packers week 1. I think that was one of our first team picks, was Packers with the points in New Orleans last year. I keep saying last week, and they only put up the 3 points last year, 7 points this week.
38-3.
Yeah, I was on the Vikings this week. That was one of my few wins that I was going to put on the card, but ended up not doing it. Wish I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one that I was
too.
really big on.
But
What do you think here?
Yeah, I don't know. This is definitely a bounce back game for Aaron Rodgers and this Packers team. This is the perfect position for them to be in after second year in a row coming out really soft, and we saw what they did last year and ended up winning 13 games, 13-4, or 14-3, whatever they were. Aaron Rodgers' MVP season. So This is definitely a bounce back game for them. I think they cover the 10 points at home, and I think we see that Chicago Bears team that we thought we were going to see all year.
I like that's what's scaring me, is I like the Packers minus 9 here, and that's what's scaring me is I like a lot of these big spread favorites, and I know they're not all hitting. So some of these games are going to be the ones I stay away from. I mean, I did like the Seahawks with the plus. I think it was like 10. I said if you could tease it up a little bit, but a lot of big spreads this week.
This is also a Sunday night game, so that plus 10 is very valuable for the Bears. 1 o'clock game, that's 10 points are not as valuable. A Sunday night game, this is a valuable 10 points for the Bears.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll lean the Packers with the points, but like you said, Sunday night, love a Sunday night underdog. If Justin Fields can have a kind of carry that success into this week, another divisional opponent, but we know Rodgers against the Bears. His record against them, I believe, pretty fucking legit, if not undefeated, damn near.
Damn near.
Pretty close to think that, or it's pretty safe to think that the back-to-back MVP comes home in the home opener. gets the job done against a divisional opponent. I just don't see the Packers starting out 0-2, let alone 0-2 in the division.
Yeah, I don't really see any position where they can lose this game. I think we could see a backdoor cover, but I'm pretty sure they have control of this game the entire game.
Yeah. Alrighty, we have two Monday night games this week. The first one we will get into is going to be a 7:15 kick between the Titans and the Bills. Bills, another 9.5 point favorite, a -460 money line, and the over/under sitting at 48.5. Another big spread. Who are you leaning on this one?
I don't know, man, because I think the Titans are really bad this year. I do. I don't think that they have much going for them. They're not. Derrick Henry's going to have a fall off year. We've seen it. We saw it a little in Week 1. We saw spurts of it in Week 1. But this Titans team. I mean, that defense. How are they going to stop Josh Allen, and Stephon Diggs, and Cole Beasley, and Gabe Davis? Like, how do you stop all those players with such a weak defense? I could just see again. You see a spread that's 9.5 points, but I just don't see a situation where this Titans team can keep up.
Yeah, I think like we said with the Ravens, you said you're just gonna ride that until it fails you. I think I'm kind of feeling that way with the Bills. They're feeling like a pretty safe team to ride the spread. They're going to be getting some pretty deep spreads, but I mean, if that team's capable of handling, I mean, a 10-point win against Tennessee, like you said, I'm not too high on them either this year. Monday Night Football, I think Josh Allen has another primetime ball out game. I think the Bills win this game like 34-17, somewhere around there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If
definitely.
if
Getting
17,
they're getting 30 points. I think 100%.
yeah.
I don't see a
And
situation where they don't.
I was going to say they're getting 30, and the Titans aren't getting 20. So
Yeah, I think both these games are a perfect situation for a nice little teaser. Get the Bills down to 3 points.
yep,
Vikings up to eight
yep,
and a half, 9.5. I think that's perfect.
yep. I was literally gonna jump right in. We'll go right into that Vikings visiting the Eagles for the second of the back to or the kind of doubleheader Monday Night Football this week. The Eagles coming in at a 1.5 point favorite on their home field, -132 money line. Vikings +112. The over under sitting at 51.5. I believe I have a stat on this one with the Vikings taking down the Packers in good fashion last week. Eagles taking down the Lions by just a field goal. Who are you leaning here? I know you just said the thing with the Vikings getting them up on points and a teaser. If you had to take the money line straight, who are you leaning?
Yeah, I love the Vikings here. I love them in the situation. I think we saw everything that we wanted to see out of that Vikings team last week with sharing the ball between Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. Obviously, Justin Jefferson, stellar game, 180 plus yards, 2 touchdowns. We're seeing Kirk Cousins use him so efficiently in this offense, and they have Dalvin Cook in the backfield. I mean, there's not much stopping this Vikings team right now. I think they're a legit contender for that NFC North division and essentially winning this NFC conference. Eagles, on the other hand, had a good week. Backdoor cover by the Lions. Gave up a lot of points. When they gave up 35 points, won the game 38-35. I
Yeah,
just don't think that this Eagles defense has many stops against this Vikings offense that's clicking at it in every way right now. I don't know. It's definitely going to be a good game. I think the Vikings come out on top, maybe by 7 points.
yeah. I do like the Vikings here. I like that plus money on the money line. I'll probably end up taking that, but you definitely interested me. You know how I feel about a two-leg teaser. That's definitely going to be something
I
I'm looking at.
I, I think
Bills
that's something
Vikings.
that will be taken this week. I think I
Yeah,
like that. At least
because
me
I
and
know
you.
Ace is high on the Vikings, and Jesse just is always down for a teaser. So, um, and I
Dude,
mean, he's been
the Vikings
good,
team looks good, man.
dude. I mean, against a
They
divisional
can't.
opponent, they absolutely balled week one. Like that's what you expect. If you see that as a Vikings fan week one, you're like, dude, it's
You're
our
ex-
year. You know what I
you're
mean? Like,
ecstatic. You're ecstatic. I am
yeah.
so high on this team right now until they prove me wrong. They just have everything going for them. Kirk Cousins is doing exactly what he needs to do with that offense right now.
And we're gonna get a lot of really good prices on the Vikings like this. Clearly, a Monday night game in Philly, prime time. Give me the underdog.
Yeah, definitely. I like it.
Yeah, but that's gonna wrap up the games for this week. You heard Ace sign off a few minutes ago. That's gonna do it for us. Season 2, Episode 4, heading into Week 2 of the NFL season. Stay tuned to the social media for all of our picks across all platforms: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Turn on your post notifications for all the social media platforms at hitthebooks.pod and underscore pod. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening, wherever you get your podcasts: Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play. See you guys next week. Best of luck on the bets this weekend. I expect myself to have a big bounce back weekend after the tough start in week 1. Mackie riding high. See you guys next week.
Yeah, guys, thanks for coming out. I know we don't talk about college football a lot on here because if we did, we'd be here all day. But we do release plays for college football as well, so stay tuned for those on
Good
Saturday.
point.
And yeah, just be ready for the cards on Sunday. Let's get going.
Yeah, that's going to do it. Great point about the college football thing, too. So, yeah, definitely we're going to stay tuned for the college football picks. We definitely, I believe we're 2-0, 2-1, sitting somewhere, I think 2-1.
We're riding nice right now.
Yeah, so
Positive
stay
units.
tuned for the college football picks. Not doing individual cards for college football because things would get kind of out of hand. Just releasing the team plays for college football. Like I said, I think we're 2-1, so starting out pretty good. But like I said, that's going to do it for Season 2, Episode 4. We will see you guys after Week 2 of the NFL season. We will see you next week to go over Week 3. Mackie, I'll see you later. Have a good one.
All right.
Peace.